there, welcome back to Empower Your English.
Ever stop and really think about what makes a life truly successful? I mean, we hear so much about climbing the career ladder, hitting those financial goals, but like, what if that's not the whole picture?
Right, there's often more to it.
Think about Jay Shetty for a second. This
Right.
guy had $1 million job on Wall Street and walked away, became a monk in India.
Yeah.
What does that tell you about what might be truly valuable? Is it the zeros in your bank account or maybe the ripple effect you create in the world?
That's a fantastic question to kick things off, actually.
Yes.
And it immediately gets us thinking about the core of our discussion today.
Yeah.
It challenges a lot of the assumptions we often make about what a good life really looks like.
Exactly. So for this deep dive, you've pulled together some fascinating material on Jay Shetty. There's a biography looking at his life's journey and an article that distills what it calls his English lessons on finding your purpose.
That's right.
Our mission today really is to kind of unpack his story, understand the key ideas that shaped him, and see what practical wisdom, we can maybe glean about living with more intention and maybe more inner peace.
Precisely. We're essentially tracing the evolution of someone who's become a very influential voice in practical spirituality, mental well-being, personal growth.
Right.
He's navigated some pretty radical shifts in his life.
Yeah.
And understanding that trajectory.
Yeah. Well, it can offer some really valuable insights for us, I think.
Absolutely. Now, for those of you who might be just tuning in, Jay Shetty is a British Indian author, host of the incredibly popular On Purpose podcast.
It's a huge podcast.
And the life coach. His work really centers on bringing a practical lens to spiritual principles, focusing on our mental health and helping us all on our personal growth journeys.
And as we mentioned, we've got his biography, gives us the timeline, and this great article pulling out some really interesting lessons. Okay, so let's dive in. Born in London, 1987, grew up in a Hindu family, got a solid education, Queen Elizabeth School, then Cass Business School, graduated 2008.
Standard path, seemingly.
Yeah, but here's where his story takes a turn that really makes you think, what was the spark? What ignited this huge shift in him?
What's truly captivating here, I think, is that pivotal moment he experienced during university.
Okay.
He went to a lecture by a Hindu monk, Gauranga Das. And then an encounter, apparently, really planted a seed, an interest in monastic life and spirituality.
Just from one lecture.
It seems so. It wasn't just a fleeting thought. It clearly resonated deeply and, set him on a path toward a significant life change.
Wow. So fast forward a couple of years to 2010, and he actually goes to India, joins an ISK-Khan ashram.
Right.
The biography suggests he spent around 3 years there, immersed in meditation, studying Vedic philosophy.
Which is, ancient Indian teachings on consciousness, reality.
Yeah. Right. And community service. That sounds like a pretty immersive experience.
It certainly does. Dedicating yourself to that kind of environment, that takes considerable commitment.
For sure.
However, it's important we acknowledge there have been some more recent discussions, questions raised about this period.
Oh.
Yeah, some sources suggest his time actually in India might not have been quite as extensive as may be publicly portrayed, and that he perhaps spent a significant chunk of that time at Bhaktivedanta Manor, which is in the UK.
Oh, okay.
So we just need to be mindful of these different accounts. We're not drawing conclusions, just noting the discussion around it.
Okay, that's a really important point to keep in mind as we explore his journey. So after this monastic period, he comes back to the UK, ends up working at Accenture. In digital strategy, even coaching executives on social media. Talk about a complete 180.
It is quite a contrast, isn't it? And it really highlights this fascinating intersection of experiences that probably informed his later work. Well, he moved from a very traditional spiritual setting to the absolute cutting edge of the digital world. You can see how that unique background might give him a really distinctive perspective, and maybe the skills to bridge these worlds that seem so different.
Absolutely. And then comes that turning point, 2016. He starts putting his thoughts out there, creating online content, these inspiring videos, mixing spiritual insights with practical life advice.
Yeah.
They just exploded. It's incredible how rapidly he built this massive global audience.
What's really striking there is just the sheer power of digital media, To amplify a message, he clearly tapped into a deep desire for meaning, for guidance, in a way that really connected online.
And then in 2019, he launches the On Purpose podcast, which, as we said, became a real powerhouse in the wellness space. I mean, the guests he's had, Will Smith, Michelle Obama, Kobe Bryant, that speaks volumes, right?
It certainly does. These are people at the absolute pinnacle of their fields, talking about purpose and well-being. It raises a really interesting question, actually. What is it about his message that resonates so strongly with such a diverse and, well, influential audience?
That's a great point. He also got a Shorty Award, Health and Wellness, in 2018. And then his book, Think Like a Monk, 2020, sold over 2 million copies.
Wow.
His second book, 8 Rules of Love, also a bestseller in 2023. So there's no denying his significant impact in the media landscape.
Indeed. He's clearly identified a significant need and found a way to deliver content that, well, resonates deeply with a huge number of people.
But as the biography points out, his journey hasn't been without its bumps in the road. He's faced some controversies.
That's right.
Back in 2019, there were accusations using content from other creators without proper attribution, and that led to some videos being taken down.
Yes, and it's important for us to acknowledge these instances factually.
Sure.
These accusations did raise important questions about, content creation, intellectual property, especially in the online space he operates in.
And then there was also scrutiny around his coaching certification program, questions about its credentials, how it was structured financially, some comparisons even drawn to, like, multi-level marketing models.
Again, it's crucial just to report this objectively. These are criticisms that have been publicly raised and discussed concerning the operational side of his professional work.
Right, okay. So with that context in mind, let's really dig into these English lessons, how to find your purpose, from the article. It starts with this really powerful statement. He left $1 million job to become a monk. Jay Shetty's journey teaches us that true success isn't in your bank account, it's in your impact. That immediately makes you stop and think, doesn't it?
It does. It immediately challenges that conventional yardstick for success, which is so often tied to money, career status. What really jumps out at you from that opening?
For me, it's that fundamental idea of redefining success itself, shifting focus from what you get to what you give, the effect you have.
Right.
The article then shares his personal story, feeling unfulfilled despite this high-powered Wall Street career, feeling this real emptiness inside. I think that's a feeling, well, maybe many listening, even without that specific job, can probably connect with. Have you ever felt that kind of disconnect?
Oh, definitely. That feeling of disconnect, even when you've achieved what society says is success, that's a really powerful motivator, isn't it? To seek something deeper.
Yeah.
His decision at just 22 to leave it all behind, become a monk in India, it really highlights the intensity of that inner search for purpose.
In those years as a monk, the deep dive into meditation, studying ancient wisdom, cultivating mindfulness.
Which is basically, paying attention to the present moment, non-judgmental about it.
Exactly. And selfless service. That's all presented as this incredibly formative time where he really learned those core principles he shares now. And then comes this pivotal moment. His Why You're Not Happy video goes viral. Any thoughts on why that particular message hit such a nerve?
I think it really tapped into a universal feeling. Dissatisfaction, maybe, even when things look okay on the surface. The title itself is a question lots of people ask themselves, right?
True.
His ability to articulate possible reasons for that unhappiness, probably drawing from his monk training and reflections, it likely offered a fresh perspective. Relatable, something people wanted to share.
Maybe the contrast he presented between fleeting external pleasures and that deeper, lasting internal contentment.
Exactly. A feeling many experience but maybe struggle to put into words.
That makes a lot of sense. And that leads us right to the core theme the article highlights, mindfulness plus purpose. It says true fulfillment comes from inner peace and a sense of purpose, not just external achievements. Living intentionally, serving others. That's what creates meaningful change. It's a really powerful message.
It is. It suggests a fundamental reorientation, doesn't it? Shifting focus from the outside world to our inner landscape, and from purely self-focused goals to contributing to something bigger.
And the article breaks down specific lessons. First one, detox your mind like your phone. I love that analogy. So relevant today.
It really is.
He talks about clearing out negativity through practices like meditation. So detox here means like getting rid of mental clutter, worries, negative self-talk.
Precisely. Just like you delete old apps or files on your phone to make it run smoother.
Makes sense.
It's about consciously creating mental space.
Yeah.
Letting go of thoughts and beliefs that don't serve you. Meditation is presented as a tool for that clarity, that inner peace. Like decluttering your phone's storage helps its performance.
Okay, second lesson. Serve to succeed. This one really flips the traditional idea of success, doesn't it?
It does.
Suggesting true success isn't just personal gain, climbing the ladder.
Yeah.
It's deeply connected to uplifting others. The more we contribute, serve, the more fulfilling our own lives become. What do you make of that perspective?
Well, it aligns with a lot of philosophical and spiritual traditions, actually, the idea that we're all interconnected.
Mhm.
The core idea is by actively contributing to others' well-being, we profoundly enhance our own sense of purpose and meaning. So success shifts from just individual accumulation to more collective upliftment, making a positive impact.
Now, the article also brings up an interesting debate. Is happiness found within, or does it depend on external achievement?
Well, yes, the Alex versus Sam perspectives.
Right. Alex, representing Shetty's view, argues true happiness comes from within mindfulness, service. But Sam counters, saying achieving things, reaching goals, that's also really important for happiness.
Mhm.
What were your thoughts on the resolution presented there?
The resolution offered is actually quite nuanced, I think,
Right.
and insightful. It acknowledges that, yes, external achievements can contribute to happiness, provide satisfaction, but it really emphasizes that true, lasting fulfillment stems from cultivating inner peace and actively engaging in service. It suggests accomplishments might offer temporary boosts, but they aren't the sole source of deep, enduring contentment.
So it's like a foundation?
Exactly. Shetty's overall approach guides us toward nurturing that internal state of peace and purpose as the foundation. The article seems to suggest maybe a hierarchy. External achievements can be a byproduct of living with purpose and mindfulness, but not the root cause of lasting happiness. Does that resonate with your own experience?
It really does. You think about achieving something you really wanted, that initial excitement fades, right? It highlights the importance of that inner foundation. Okay, and that brings us to some key vocabulary from the article. First word, contentment. Defined as being at peace with what you have, appreciating the present without constantly seeking more.
Powerful.
The example, monks teach contentment, not chasing desires. In our society, constantly pushing more, that's a really potent concept. It's not about not wanting anything, but finding satisfaction now.
Exactly. Shifting from a mindset of lack, always striving, to one of abundance, appreciating the present.
The other word is viral, defined as something that spreads rapidly and widely, especially online. Example, his video went viral overnight.
We hear that all the time now.
We do, but it really underscores the incredible power of online platforms, sharing ideas at lightning speed.
It truly highlights the potential for a message to reach a massive audience very quickly, which was certainly a huge factor in Shetty's rapid rise.
Then there's a really practical call to action for everyone listening. Write down one thing you're grateful for today.
Simple, but effective.
Right. The article explains gratitude helps us stay present, grounded. Sounds so simple, but I bet if we all took just a moment, it could really shift our perspective.
It's such an accessible way to cultivate mindfulness daily. Actively focusing on gratitude directs our attention to the positive. That can have a really significant impact on our overall well-being, our contentment. Have you found that to be true?
Definitely. It's like a little mental reset button. And then there's this great quote from Jay Shetty. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts.
Ah, yes.
Can you unpack that a bit more for us? What's the key takeaway there?
This is really fundamental in many mindfulness traditions. It suggests we aren't defined or controlled by that constant stream of thoughts running through our minds.
Okay.
Instead, we have this inherent capacity to step back, observe those thoughts without judgment, without getting swept away, and consciously choose how we respond. It creates a kind of psychological distance, empowers us not to be dictated by every fleeting thought or emotion.
That's a really insightful way to look at it. It gives you a sense of control, almost. The article then poses some really thought-provoking reflection questions. How can mindfulness change your approach to daily challenges? What is the most meaningful way you serve others in your life? How do you practice gratitude and mindfulness day to day?
Great prompts.
Yeah, fantastic prompts for all of us to really consider how these ideas can be applied in our own lives.
Absolutely. They encourage active engagement, invite listeners to think critically about the practical application of these principles.
Finally, the biography touches briefly on his personal life marriage to Radhi Devlukia Shetty, who's a nutritionist and author,
Right.
and their co-founded tea brand, Samati, based on Ayurvedic principles.
That traditional Indian system of holistic well-being.
Exactly. It also mentions her strong presence in the health and wellness space online. Seems like a really aligned partnership, doesn't it?
It does indeed. Suggests a shared passion, a commitment to well-being, a holistic approach, which likely reinforces both their individual and their collective work.
Okay, so as we bring this deep dive toward a close, what are the key takeaways you think our listeners should really remember from exploring Jay Shetty's journey and these lessons on purpose?
Well, I think the central message that really shines through is that true lasting fulfillment,
Mm.
it isn't fully derived from external achievements or material success.
Mm.
Instead, it's deeply intrinsically connected to cultivating inner mindfulness, living with a clear sense of purpose, and actively engaging in service to others.
Yeah.
Jay Shetty's personal path, while it hasn't been without its controversies, as we noted, it does offer some really valuable insights into the power of shifting our primary focus inward, prioritizing inner peace, and contributing to the world around us.
That's a fantastic summary, really concise. So here's a final thought for you listening to really chew on. In a world that so often shouts about external validation, the job title, the salary, the stuff, what is one small actionable step you can take today, maybe right after this, to cultivate more inner peace, to connect with a deeper sense of purpose, either through serving others in some small way or practicing mindfulness? Think beyond just the immediate. Consider the long-term impact of making this subtle but potentially significant shift in your perspective. Thanks so much for diving deep with us today.